Hello students, welcome to ePathshala. I am Rekha from FSMD department. Today we will see the module on supplementary feeding and weaning foods for infants. Actually, healthy habits are taught to the child right from the birth. In fact, health of the baby is decided even before his or her birth. A healthy child is born to the mother who kept to healthy food habits during her pregnancy. Children often take the attitudes and habits formed during their initial years into adulthood. Learning healthy eating behavior at an early age is very important to lay good foundation for the future health of the child. So here we actually concentrate on the infants' future health and how the breast milk is going to help them in their future healthy life. Now we will see on some advantages of breastfeeding. Breastfeeding should be exclusively given till 6 months of age. It is actually species specific, like it has the advantages like suitability, natural, warmth, free of bacteria and readily available whenever needed. The colostrum, which is secreted in the initial 1 week or 3 to 4 days from the mother's breast, is rich in antibodies, and baby develops immunities for the lifetime, which is not present in any other formula feeding or cow's milk. It contains easily digestible proteins like carbohydrates and fats, which can be easily imbibed by the digestive system of the infants. Very rich in vitamins compared to cow's milk, like the vitamin C and folic acid, which is present in mother's milk, is more when compared to cow's milk, and which is very much needed for the immunity and for the growth of the infants. Stimulates development of personality and behavior like brain development and cognitive development. For this, mainly breast milk or the mother's milk is needed, which is totally absent in other formulas and cow's milk. Now we'll just see on the composition of milk per 100 ml. Say like carbohydrate presence in human milk is 6.8 ml, whereas in cow's milk it is 5, and in buffalo it is 4.5. Protein it is 1.5, and in cows it is 3.5, whereas in buffalo it is 4.3 ml per 100 ml. Fat 4, 3.5 and 7.5, and in energy 68 in human milk, 66 in cow's milk, whereas in buffalo milk it is 103. And the vitamins and minerals, say for example in vitamin C is present only in human milk about 12.3%, whereas it is totally absent in a cow's milk. Even folic acid, likewise it is present in 0.2 grams, where it is absent in cow's or buffalo's milk. So now we'll see on like supplementary feeding. What is supplementary feeding? What are the points to be considered when supplementary feeding? To start with, supplementary feeding describes the method of giving additional fluids aside from breast milk to a breastfed baby because of breast milk supply issues. So breast milk supply issues, likewise say inadequate supply of milk or absence of mother because she is working, or in case of any chronic illnesses of the mother. Next, supplementary feeding is defined as the provision of extra food to children. Supplementary feeding is also known as a complementary feeding. Reasons for starting supplementary feeding. We will now look on to what are the reasons or issues which lead to the start of supplementary feeding. Here the most common reason for starting supplementary feeding is that the baby still seems hungry straight after a feed, and inadequate or no supply of breast milk. In case of absence of mother due to work, any chronic illness and death. Infant born with problem of cleft palate. Now we will move on to weaning. Actually, weaning is just progressing from breast milk to the introduce of other liquids or semi-solid foods. Here, I'll first give you the definition for weaning. The process of introducing semi-liquid to semi-solid foods other than breast milk. The transition of food pattern has to keep pace with the child's growth, who triples his birth weight and 1.5 times his birth length by the end of 1 year. That means by end of 6 months, the infant will be double his weight. Say for example, if the infant is 3 kg when he or she is born, they will double by 6 months and they will triple by 1 year. This is the normal steady growth pattern, and this should be attained for a healthy infant. Next, consistency and frequency of foods. Consistency, what is the texture of the food what you are going to give, the frequency of food, the calorie density, the energy density of the food, and nutrient, the different types or the ratios of nutrients present in the weaning foods have to be monitored closely. And then the last is follow hygienic practices while starting weaning foods. So now we'll see when to start and what are the factors to be considered while starting weaning foods. At 6 months of age, WHO recommends initiate complementary feeding and start supplementary to breast milk. That is, till 6 months, the infant will be fully sufficient with the breast milk, but after 6 months of age, breast milk will not be enough for the infant. So we have to start on with supplementary food. Breast milk output for a healthy mother will be 600 to 700 ml per deciliter, whereas in less milk output from malnourished mother will be low. Underweight child need to be initiated weaning at 5 months of age. If the child is very underweight or is inadequate weight gaining is there, then we have to start weaning at 5 months itself so that they can catch up on the weight. Next, continue breastfeeding even otherwise. If weaning is started also, we have to continue breastfeeding, and the frequency and the amount will be reduced in case of because feeding patterns will be reduced, and so that but we have to frequently breastfeed the children in frequent intervals. Why to start weaning at 6 months? It continues. Breast milk is sufficient for the growth of baby only till 6 months of age. So till 6 months of age, the baby is fully sufficient with the breast milk whatever is rendered from the mother, whereas after 6 months it is very anxious and to have the other foods, and even they are conscious and they are watching what all goes around them, and they even see the children who are eating something. So we can start with some liquid foods which they enjoy at the age of 6 months. Breast milk output starts to decline after 6 months thereafter, but baby's physical and mental development continues at a very fast pace till the end of 2 years. So still we say infancy has a very growth rapid period, where because only 0 to 1 year we have a very fast infant is growing continuously. So after 6 months of age, though the rapid weight gain is slowed down, but the other process, the other growing part is it takes place continuously. So we have to switch on to weaning foods. Next, weaning latest by 6 months. So we have to start by 6 months for an healthy infant. If the infant is underweight, we have to start in 5 months itself, failing of which if the introduction or the later weaning will lead to malnutrition and other health related issues of the infant. Why? Again, I'll continue the other factors. The rate of increase in length and weight declines, but still the child will be growing in size. So other activities like which the infants do after 6 months, like turning, crawling, standing with support, walking, running, vocabulary in sense they try to give out some words, some sounds. Okay, so for that and all they need lots of energy, and the process of teething and learning to eat by himself, grasping needs extra energy and nutrients. For all these purposes and all these activities, they need extra energy which can be only supplemented through other additional foods. Next, infant's intestinal tract develops immunologically with defense mechanism to protect the infant from foreign proteins. So now in this, after 6 months only, infants' digestive systems are ready to accept the other foods, and they have the immunity to forbid the foreign bodies or any other infection which comes in. So it is the right time for starting weaning foods. Next, the food contains complex form of nutrients, like say child is ready to digest these complex carbohydrates, proteins and fats by 6 months of age. So till that times, before 6 months, they will be able to only digest the simpler forms of carbohydrates, protein and fat which is given through the breast milk. Whereas after 6 months of age, the digestive system will be ready to even digest the complex carbohydrates, proteins and fat which is given from other foods. There will be enzymes to digest complex nutrients are fully activated. Before that, it will be in an inactive form or it will be functioning very low. But whereas after 6 months, the enzymes will be fully activated from, which will help to digest the complex nutrients whichever is got from the other food from the food. Now the critical and the crucial period is this weaning period, where each month is different till 1 year of age. So say for example in 6 months they will have a different taste, they will accept certain foods. At the next month, or say 2-3 weeks after, they will not like that food or the taste. So we have to continuously give varied types of food items, but we have to be conscious that it will be it should be nutrient dense and it will be easily digestible. So all these cautions also we have to keep in mind during this weaning period. So weaning at proper time. So first and foremost thing is weaning at proper time. That is, we have to start weaning at the proper time, that is by 6 months, and then transition from liquid to solid. So to start with the weaning, we have to first start liquid weaning. Say for example, you can give fresh fruit juices or any porridges which is in thin consistencies. We can just start, and for 1 or 2 weeks you can continue with the liquid feeds, and you can give the breastfeeding say 7 or 6 times, 8 times, and you have to supplement with the liquid feeds. So gradually from liquid feeds you can move on to the solid feeds. Next, frequency from 10 feeds per day can be reduced 6 to 7 feeds per day gradually. At a time you cannot reduce to 4 or 5 feeds, and you cannot give liquid feeding say 100 ml or 150 ml per time. So we have to gradually move on. Say for example, start with 2 to 3 tablespoons, then you can just gradually increase the tablespoon number. Next, amounts of food to be offered at a time. Example, when the child is small, can manage small amount of feed each time, and the frequency is high. So frequent intervals, say 2 hours interval, 2.5 intervals, you can supplement any liquid feeds, or you can always move on to the breastfeeding. So gradually the weaning should be increased. So next we'll see what are the signs that baby is ready for supplementary feeding. So there are certain signs which tells the mother or the other family members where child is ready for the supplementary feeding. See, the first one is hold his or her head straight when sitting down. So that means when the infant is sitting down, he or she will hold her head straight. So that is one sign of that the baby is ready for supplementary feeding. Next is opens his or her mouth when others eat. So they are anxious of what the others are doing. When they are eating, they will just they will have the interest what they are doing, and even they will open their mouth for the feed. Next, shows interest in foods when others eat. So when others are eating, they will even shout. They will they will show signs that they want food. Then receives frequent breastfeed but appears hungry soon after. So even when the breastfeeding is say for example, certain mothers, they will have very inadequate supply, but they don't know, they will think the baby is feeding well, because they will be the baby will be put on to breast and they will be continuously feeding, but there will be inadequate supply of mother. That is the mothers will not know that the infant is insufficient of milk. So after hungry, they will again, after feeding, they will cry, or they will be very restless. So that is also one sign that we have to start supplementary food feeding, because the mother's milk is not inadequate. Next, it gains weight but not adequate. So when the one more sign is the baby will not be gaining weight. That I told you, that by 6 months of age they should be doubled and the weight should be tripled by 1 year. So that will not be attained. So even because of not feeding properly. So when this is no adequate gain weight is there, again you have to start on with supplementary feeding. How to initiate weaning and progress. So now we will see on how to start with weaning in regard to consistency, frequency and the calorie dense. So first we will see on the consistency. So introduction of right consistency of food at the right age is important to develop good food behaviors. Essentially we have to follow certain sequence for the good food behaviors. Say first, breastfeeding is exclusive for 0 to 6 months. Semi-liquid feeding, say after 5 to 6 months. Easy digestible, smooth and gentle on baby stomach. So whatever weaning food we are starting in 5 to 6 months, it should be easily digestible, smooth and gentle on baby stomach, so that it doesn't irritate or cause any restlessness to the baby. Next, semi-solid foods by 8 to 9 months, where baby now needs food with taste and texture. So here you can introduce by giving some dal mixed with vegetables or only dal, or give some soft stewed fruits like say apple, banana, etc. can be given here. Next, semi-solid after 10 months. Here now the teething process and all would be started. So the baby is now ready to take some other taste and different types of texture. So now baby now needs food that satisfy his or her urge to chew complex taste and texture. So now you can just introduce like boiled or soft boiled pieces of vegetables, fruits can be given here. Now solid diet. After 11 months or to 1 year, varied food items, say they can normally switch on to the normal diet, but only thing we have to little more have conscious of the consistency. It should be properly boiled and given. Not the unboiled one or the raw one cannot be given by 11 to 1 year. So properly boiled foods, even without mashing, we can give in the month of from 11th months to 1 year. How to initiate weaning during frequency? How often? Or frequency is how often we have to give the weaning foods. So frequency here, energy requirement on a per kg basis. So here the energy comes according to the per kg body weight of the infant. So it is 3 times more than the adults in infants and 2 times more than the adults in case of children till 2 years of age. So for infants is 0 to 1 year. So I think you can understand 0 to 1 year is 3 times more than the adults, whereas for 2 years child it is 2 times more. Next, children have to be fed frequently since they can eat small amount at a time due to their little capacity. So their stomach or the input capacity of the children are very little or very small. So frequent feedings can be adhered for the easy digestibility and imbibition of nutrients. Next, till 5 to 6 months, child is given breastfeed on demand. So 5 to 6 months, it is not necessary that once weaning is started, we have to stop breastfeeding or we have to totally reduce breastfeeding. But frequent intervals you have to breastfeed so that the breastfeeding is kept at a pace. So once the baby sucks on the breast of the mother only, the the lactation process or the hormones will be activated and the production of milk will be there. So at frequent intervals, the mother have to feed the infants, even otherwise the weaning is started or not. Okay, the child is given breastfeed on demand 9 to 10 times over 24 hours, and from 6 to 8 months as the child grows, his requirement increases and he starts to accept larger volume and thicker consistency at a time. Feed him 7 to 8 times. So as the months progress, even the thickness or the consistency can be gradually progressed, and even the breast milk will have its own texture modification as the days prolong. So when the months increase also, even the breast milk consistency will become thicker. Next, from 9 to 12 months, normally feed the child 6 to 7 times per day. By 12 to 15 months, feed the child at least 6 times per day. So 6 times. So it is not like adults like taking 3 meals at a time for a day. So only children's we have to gradually reduce the meal patterns, and at frequent intervals we should give some food. By 18 months, follow the eating schedule of 5 to 6 times per day and fix. After 18 months, they stick on to the normal children, and now we can start with the regular meals of say breakfast, lunch, dinner. Even and we have to make sure that in between say mid-morning by 11 o'clock, 10:30, we have to give some fruit juices or any nuts, and healthy snacking should be practiced for the children. And evening at 4:30 to 5, again you can give some healthy snacks which will lead to the healthy growth of the children's. And at bedtime again we have to give some fruits, milk, which will help for the proper sleep and for their growth. So now we'll see on the volume, like in weaning process, what is the volume or the amount we have to give the weaning foods. Now children have little capacity due to their smaller surface area. So initially accept small amount, but as she increases in size, accepts larger volume. So when the children grow, they start to accept larger volume of food. So till to 5 to 6 months, few spoons to 30 ml at a time. From 6 to 7 months, 50 to 75 ml per gram at a time. From 7 to 8 months, 75 to 100 ml grams at a time. From 9 to 12 months, 100 to 150 ml per gram at a time can be given. Now we'll see what is the calorie density and nutrient density which we have to look into the weaning foods. As the consistency thickens, frequency reduced and volume per feed increases, the calorie density should be increased. Babies cannot consume larger bulky foods. Say bulky foods, here I mean the foods which are rich in fiber. So if we give foods which are rich in fiber to the children, they take only little, and in turn the energy density will be low. So we cannot give bulky foods. So to provide enough calories in less volume, increase calorie density by adding fat. So here in fat I mean like you can add a ghee, any vegetable oils, or any butter or any etc. can be added to increase the calorie density of the food. So usually in case of malnourished children or underweight children, we have to give fat rich foods, like we have to increase the fat quantity in the food. So now what are the different types, or what to feed, what are the different types of supplements which we can give to the infants? So to start with is the liquid supplements. Supplement breast milk with diluted cow's milk. So cow's milk, normally the pediatricians, they recommend after 9 months or even after 1 month. So instead of cow's milk, here you can start, either you can give the diluted cow's milk, or in case if you don't get cow's milk, if you're not if your pediatrician says cow's milk is not advisable, then start with some formulas, juice of fresh fruits. Okay, instead of giving other milks, you can continue with breast milk with some juice of fresh fruits, soup from green leafy vegetables, formula feeds, whichever is easily available. Then semi-liquid to semi-solid supplements, cereals and starchy gruels. Starchy gruels in sense any wheat or ragi gruel, malted cereal. Murmura is nothing but the rice powder. So you can make the rice powder and you can mix with the you can make it porridge out of it and you can give. Even rice flakes soaked in the milk can be given to the children. Mashed banana, boiled and mashed potato, boiled and mashed vegetables can be given here. From 6 to 7 months, along with breakfast, we have to introduce all these things. Say fresh milk or any formula feedings, 200 to 250 ml per day can be given. Mashed banana in form of custard or as such can be given. 1/4 to half katori. Powdered ragi wheat porridge, rice flakes and milk sugar can be given. 1/4 to half katori. Then dal rice. In lunch, say you can give some khichdi type dal rice, mixed mashed moong dal and rice plus some amount of ghee. One or few drops of ghee can be added. That is again half katori. And again in the evenings or any in between, you can give rusk, bread, biscuits which is soaked in, but normally avoid bakery products, and you can switch on to any rusk or something like that which is made out of whole cereals can be given. Processed cereal foods, boiled mashed potato or sweet potato can be given. From 8 to 9 months, I am repeating like everything, but few changes will be there here. Again, milk or any formulas 252. You can just increase from 8 to 9 months. You can continue to give the same products, but you can just increase the volume what you are giving prior. Fresh milk 250 to 400 ml per day. Banana or any other seasonal fruit 3/4 to 1 cup a day. Then bread, biscuits, sago in milk, like soaked, you can give half to 1 katori. Dal rice, again from that half katori, everything can be increased to 1 katori. And potatoes and vegetables can be given in between, mashed, boiled and nicely mashed, added little salt you can give. Next, from 10 to 12 months, fresh milk, again you can just increase 400 to 500 ml per day. That is 400 to 500 ml will be, say, normally 1 glass will be 100 to 150 ml. So per day you can give 4 or 3 feedings of milk. Banana or any other seasonal fruit, 1 or more can be. As such, you can give a fruit here. Now rice flakes, corn flakes, sago in milk can be given 1 katori, or even if they like more than 1 katori can be given. Dal rice. Next, things to remember here. Now we have to see what are the do's and don'ts which we have to concentrate while weaning. So develop the baby's taste buds gradually. So we have to give like we should not at a time give salt, sweet foods or salty foods or sour items. So we have to gradually increase their taste buds. Next, easy digestible and viscostable, that is you have to have the consistency should be viscous and so that it is easily swallowed and digested for the infants. Next, well balanced diet. So you have to see it is the diet whatever you are giving to the infant should be well balanced. It should be convenient, easy to prepare and affordable, hygienic. Use katori and spoons instead of using your own hands or feeding through hands. Patience to feed. So this is very, very important, where we have to, the people whoever or the members, whether it is mother or the family members who are feeding for the children, they should have enough patience to feed the child, and they have to even create certain stories or good things which the infants will create interest in having feeding. Next, availability of food items. Nothing is hard and fast. Whatever is available you can give. Next, likes and dislikes of the child should be considered. Nothing is must. Allow your child to dislike. So if they show any dislike to any food, you can just stop that food for few weeks, then you can introduce. So no restrictions. And on the volume, nothing is too much for the child. Introduce one food at a time. Artificial milk formulas, commercial formulas, not recommended, but in cases no other go, you can switch on to the formulas feeding. So here we'll see what are the faulty feedings and which leads to malnutrition. So feeding on artificial milk formulas, reconstituting wrongly, feeding on diluted fresh milk, breastfeeding or long time, delayed weaning, feeding via dirty feeding bottles. So what are the things which should consider while preparing feed? Wash hands preparing baby's feed, boil drinking water for 5 minutes of milk, leave it till it's lukewarm. Pour 60 ml of lukewarm water, milk into a bowl, stir in 3 level scoops of powdered murmura until pap is smooth. Feed baby with a clean spoon and katori. Preparation of the feed. Important precautions which we have to look into is use only clean utensils, use prepared feed within half an hour, discard unused feed. Problems in weaning psychologically. So once weaning is started, the psychological problem what the infants get adhered to is we have to not, the mother should not stop the breastfeeding at once when the weaning is started. So frequent breastfeeding should be given so that psychologically the infants will not be affected. Next, obesity. Too much quantity of feeding or too concentrated food can lead to overweight of the infant. Underweight. Too less quantity of food or less concentrated foods can lead to underweight. Frequent illness and repeated diarrhea can also result in underweight. Allergy, increased gut permeability, low level of sanitary IgA and enzymatic immaturity put the infant at higher risk for allergy. Refusal to take new food. They refuse to take some new taste or new food. So if they show any dislike, you can just stop it and you can again try giving the new food. Choking and aspiration can be caused by peanuts, small hard sweets, crisps and raisins. Where hard pieces or unboiled vegetable pieces are given to the infants or to the small kids, they will at times it will choke them and it might even lead to the death of the children. So pieces and hard pieces should be carefully given with the monitoring of parents or any other members. So if the child, to conclude, I'll just say, so if the child sees you enjoying nutritious food, likely you can give them a try to taste that food. Be always, for infants, the parents are good role model. So once parents are eating have a healthy food habits, even the children will adhere to that.